the craziness, but you're right. And none of these teams, whether it's in college or in the pros, are doing anything about it. We do come from abject poverty. None of us know how to balance a checkbook, So what do? We go hire the white man. And I'm far from racist. I'm making a point here to people. And until they start understanding and seeing things for what they are, we're always going to have problems. Do we have racism in this country? Hell yeah. Okay, we have a major racism problem. Okay? So it's not about being racist. It's not about, trying to separate black and white. It's about the reality of it all. A black kid is not going to know how to balance a checkbook because that's not something we do. My father didn't know how to balance a checkbook. He barely made enough to have a check.
Right.
That's how we grew up. So they got to learn it from somewhere, but they're not willing to help anybody. They're not willing to help these kids. They don't care if you learn it or not. If you end up being broke, they're okay with that. They already got what they wanted out of you. They gave you your money. It's up to you to know how to save, how to spend. So at the end of the day, should they provide? Yes, they should. I believe that every school, I don't care if it's Alabama, if it's Maryland, if it's North Carolina, should have somebody of color to deal the young black men that they go out and recruit every year. That's on staff, even if it's somebody from the hood, you got to have somebody that's been there, done that, and know how to do it, and know how to talk to these kids. A white man can't tell me how to be. I'm sorry. Just like a black person can't tell a white person how to be, in certain situations, But we can learn from one another, but at the same time, we need to have somebody that understands us, that know how to talk and speak to us in the language we understand.
Thank you. Because I just don't understand, like this guy, Reuben Foster with the 49ers, it's come out that his girlfriend actually lied on him because he broke up with her.
Happens all the time.
And he does have a violent past. And I just think, I remember I have a cousin, God rest his soul. He used to, as a younger man, he used to call me Angry Man from Martin. And I was angry and didn't even know why I was angry all the time. I've been jumped by the police. I got a friend named Anthony, and we were walking home from the park, and every other block, a different police unit stopped us until we got to our neighborhood. They followed us into the game room. Anthony's playing this video game, and they grab him off the video game, take him to some woman. The woman said, "No, that's not him." They asked him, "Are you sure?" So don't tell me that people are not in my community being stressed, and some of these young men don't need help, because you would have to be a damn fool to believe Anthony is the only person that went through that, Brian is the only person that went through that, and so forth and so on. I have two friends, as a matter of fact, did 15-plus years in penitentiary for crimes that they did not commit. So don't tell me that there aren't, these institutions coming to pluck our young men out of these communities and use them for what and then discard them like tissue, that they don't need to take time and have, like you said, either have a therapist or have someone who speaks the language. Because it's easy for Roy Williams to say, "Hey, man, young man, you need to," and somebody pull you to the side, "Yo, blood, you about to blow it. And if you don't want to go back to the hood, you need to get your act together." And that person would only cost about $55,000, $60,000. Even if you gave them a bonus and gave them $100K, that's better than that's better than just sending these young brothers back into the world, turning them back into abject poverty,
but
potentially
again,
into criminals.
We're using common sense. That's the thing. You and I right now are speaking, and we're using common sense. We're being rational. And that's the problem. Not everybody's doing that. And again, like I said, it's too much like right. Why do they want to do that? We like it just the way it is.
Right. That way that foot remains firmly pressed upon your neck, and you don't have to do. And then
exactly.
you can go. You can use. You can be woefully ignorant and just, hey, I didn't know. Just like I didn't know the police were just shooting random poor folks throughout the country. Yeah, okay. And I didn't know the moon was still in the sky in the daytime. But we both know, both those events happen at all times. It's just, it's crazy, and it's annoying, and it's kind of, what I've always wondered. You mentioned it, and I've always wondered it. Why is it that, and I'm not trying to point a finger at anything. I see guys like yourself, Isaiah Thomas, and others who I respect. And I listen to you guys. Why haven't you guys become agents or something? That way you can say, hey man, I've been there, and this is what time it is, and I'm gonna help you do that. And not necessarily you, but why don't more players get into that? Or
you're right. I mean,
or the glue players.
That's a good point you make, and I know B.J. Armstrong is a well-respected agent now. I thought about it. I love teaching from the basketball side because I use the basketball to teach, and if I became an agent, then I'm limited on the kids I can reach.
Oh, okay.
And so that's my personal reason why. But I did think about it for a while, but I don't know how many I would get in my stable, but it's still a possibility. If I can save one, maybe I should think about doing it.
Yeah, because I recently read an article whereas Luther Campbell from the 2 Live Crew, his wife is an agent. And
yes.
When I read this article, Dante, I think it's Hightower for the I can't think of his name.
Hightower, yes.
Dante Hightower is the highest not paid but endorsed running back in the NFL, and that's due to her. And I just don't understand, like you said, why we keep going to use the old school term, why we keep going to Mr. Charlie to handle our money, and Mr. Charlie is just squaring our ass every week.
That's the programming.
On the ass kicking machine, putting in quarters.
That's the programming. Hey man, it's been going on for so long. It's second. It's not even a thought anymore to us. It's just that's the norm. That's what we do. You go to college, you play 1 year, then you go with the white agent. You go to college, you play 1 year, you go to the white agent. Because my white coach told me that that's who I should go to.
But you know what? I didn't even think I didn't even think about this a second ago. But how do you feel about HBCUs? Because HBCUs have a culture designed for us. We are the professors. We are the administration. How do you feel? I understand Andre Ayton is not going to Grambling State University. He's not going to Hampton, so forth and so on. But this was my theory. How about, you got the top 100. What about number 350 on down, which is still a very good athlete? What if we got 8 or 10 of those guys for 3 straight years to go to HBCUs? Do you believe the HBCUs could potentially take over the NCAA tournament?
That's a tough question for me to answer because I ended up going to the University of Virginia because, and it's funny, I got about 200 offers from colleges and not one was HBCU even back then. Not to say I would have gone, but it's like I don't remember getting any letters from any historically black colleges. And so I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know who's handling their recruiting process because to me that's a viable thing because that's where if I had to do over, I would be like, you know what, maybe I should look into this because I know I go on campus. Most everybody's going to look like me, talk like me, and so, but I don't know who's handling the recruiting process and how they do the recruiting because they're able to field teams every year, so somebody's doing it. But I think sometimes they just say, you know what, we don't have a chance of getting these guys anyway, so why put the time and effort into it? But, I mean, it's tough seeing that. I wish it was different.
this is what made me think about it. Mark Richt left. Well, he was fired from the University of Georgia, and then he went down to his alma mater, the University of Miami, the U. You know, one of the biggest programs in college football. He took a portion of his salary and upgraded the athletic facilities because he knew once I upgrade the athletic facilities, I'm going to get some of these inner city kids, and then we'll be back at the U. I always look at guys like Patrick Ewing and Mark Jackson and other guys who have been sitting on the sideline for half a decade or a decade saying, I'm going to interview again. I always go, do you want to be a coach or do you want to be an NBA coach? Because if you just want to be a coach, why not go Hampton University or one of these HBCUs that are
Shoot, I'll go there if they're hiring. Shoot, let them know I'm available. Shoot, I'm available. I'll go to an HBCU in a heartbeat if somebody's going to hire me.
Right, because it's like I'm looking at 3-star athletes, and you walk into a living room, and it's Mark Jackson and his assistant coaches, Patrick Ewing, or vice versa. Who's saying no? It's like,
oh man,
Mark Jackson.
I would get players too. Hey, I would get players.
I always wonder why not, because my opinion
it's not going to happen, but because again, it's not going to happen because we've already been programmed. The program's already in place, and it's unfortunate.
Wow.
And it's unfortunate saying that we're stuck in the matrix. Wow. It is unfortunate, but that's what I'm saying. I try to function outside of the matrix. That's why I just said, publicly, hey, I'm available. If somebody's willing to hire me for HBCU, I will definitely and gladly go there and coach and recruit and get players.
But I just don't get it, man. I mean, because I always looked at it like this. College coaches are hired to be legends. Professional coaches are hired to be fired. And
hey, man, one of the greatest college coaches, man. I mean, he was there at Grambling, so, I mean, he made it work. It was doable back then. I just don't think it's doable now because, again, we're so fully into the matrix and so fully into, like you got to go to one of these top schools. But people forget, not that they were all HBCUs, but a lot of our great players went to small schools. We've had players that went to HBCU schools, so they do make it to the NBA.
Yeah, I mean.
But, Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, they went to, NAIA, D3s. We've had, not all of them went to D1 schools. You can still make it to the NBA if you're good enough. Rick Mahorn. I mean, we've had a ton of guys, man. Charles Oakley. I mean, Virginia Union.
Yeah.
But nobody, you ask them, what school did Charles Oakley go to? I don't know, Kentucky. That's all they'll say.
Exactly, man. And it's just, it amazes me that, like, Darryl Walker, former NBA player, he's the coach at Clark Atlanta, and they made the tournament. And I'm just looking at that, and I'm quite sure Darryl Walker can get on the phone with Oden Polynice and so forth and so on. It's only
that's my buddy, man. Chicken wing. We played together.
Man, I just don't get it, man. I was like, you could, because my personal opinion is, when you watch the NCAA, I think the NCAA tournament is about to make a turn for the better because it was great when you were there, but I think due to the one and done program, those smaller schools have guys 3 or 4 years. They're indoctrinated into the program, so they stay there, and that's why they're beating these superstar teams. Because I'll take a 22-year-old man versus an 18-year-old boy in a basketball game every night of the week. I think that's what's happening, and that's what I think. That's what birthed my HBCU idea, because I'm like, hey, it's a skill set now. I know how to play basketball. You're just athletic. You're just a basketball player at this point. I know how to play basketball. And
the one and done's about to be over with, so it'll be over next year.
Good. How do you feel about this whole basketball pay-for-play scandal?
Horrible. I mean, the FBI, they got better things to be worrying about instead of messing around with college basketball. I'm like, come on. It's ridiculous that they're doing this. It's not a crime, unfortunately. It's frowned upon, but no crime was committed.